Happy 100th episode! This is such a momentous occasion. You know what would make this absolutely perfect? By messing everything up. When we did this episode, which was meant to be all in person mostly, and then have only a couple people on Zoom call, and then the camera died on us, we lost all of the Zoom footage. It was a great episode to do, and then we lost a lot of the what made it special. I will say most of the recording is intact, but if any point during this episode it seems like some of the conversation or the flow seems a bit jarring, that's probably for good reason. We tried to salvage as much as we could. All the content is still there. It may just not flow as smoothly as we would normally like it to. Either way, this episode is a bit longer than usual, but we have a lot to say and we have a lot to celebrate. So enjoy this episode of our 100th episode. Oh, goodness. Hey, Splat Stanley, tell us about it.
Welcome, Slimesters, to this special 100th episode of Splat Attack. For this episode, we talk, well, Splat Attack. The whole gang is here to talk about the makings of the show, its history, and more. All of them together. Simmer down. Anywho, welcome to the 100th episode Splataganza.
Kick it.
Welcome, all you Slimesters. We're glad you're here. Let's get this Splataganza started by talking about the creation of Splat Attack. Please welcome the Splat Attack crew.
Hello! Welcome to our 100th episode of Splat Attack.
What?
Our big Splataganza. I am, leader of the pack, I guess, Alex, and we'll just go pass around. And you is
Your wife, Megan.
I'm your wife!
Your wife.
Girls Room Captain Kiley.
I'm your slouching slimester cat.
I'm just Heather.
I like eggs.
I be Manny.
The king of Sam reacts, Sam.
I'm your OG Geckoid, Brett.
And I'm this guy's wife, Monica.
The wife.
I'm your Buns of Steel man, Jorde.
My guy, Jorde.
But I think it's kind of cool that the last big call we had where we watched the premiere of Snick over on Patreon was really the first call that we had everybody. Outside of our spouses, but the whole Splat crew, both from when Brett and I first started to the current crew, all in one call, which was really pretty awesome.
Yeah, Brett was a part of that call.
He was. And now we've got everyone on a single Zoom call in three. Just 3 screens, because most of us are here in person, which is pretty awesome. But just the fact that we have, this is our 100th episode, main timeline episode. Because if you also count our lives that we've done, the minisodes, the bonus Patreon episodes, the bonus Patreon minisodes, it's 299.
Wow. That's crazy.
Wow.
So with our orange soda in hand, celebrating this, we thought it would be fitting to talk about Splat Attack. Most episodes, obviously, we talk about some of the pop culture and things that we love. And usually the overviews, we talk about the current season. But with the start of Splat Attack, which I've shared my half the story quite a bit, so I'm actually going to start with Brett and have him share with us his side of how this all got started. So, Brett, take it away.
Yeah, I'd be happy to share my perspective, Alex.
So I'm going to back up a few years to 2017 because that's when I first started listening to podcasts actively. This was during my early phase of working on Scary Tales, that book everyone probably knows from its Kickstarter. And I haven't listened to podcasts before then, but I started listening to some Are You Afraid of the Dark podcasts, and I thought they were pretty interesting and hear other people's takes on shows that we all grew up listening to. And eventually, through the pipeline, I found out Big Orange Couch did some Are You Afraid of the Dark episodes too, so I started listening to them. And then a couple of years later, when I went to California to try and make it as an animator, spoiler alert, that didn't happen. I ended up connecting with Big Orange Couch after finding out that Aaron Tager had passed away, because I was going to ask him for an interview for my book, and unfortunately my request for him didn't get to him in time, so that was pretty unfortunate. And I was dealing with the pain of losing out on him because I really wanted to talk to him. But to work through that, I made some art to honor Aaron Tager as a tribute, and I showed that to Big Orange Couch. They said, "Hey, we love it, and we're actually doing an episode on him. Could we use this?" And they agreed, and they ended up doing the episode, and it seemed like a lot of fun. So that kind of started my journey of being a guest on a podcast instead of just listening to them. And so, I ended up doing more guest spots with them, with other podcasts in the 90s nostalgia community over on Instagram. Because during the pandemic, I started talking with a lot of people about 90s Nickelodeon. And I actually ended up meeting Alex over on Facebook first in 2019 when I came back from California to live in Connecticut for a while. And I was doing freelance art at the time and posting some Pete and Pete art in a Facebook group that we were both administrators in when it was small. It's grown pretty big since. But I always remembered him being very encouraging of my art, even though I didn't necessarily get the responses that I would have hoped to have when I posted stuff. And so that stuck with me. And I remembered him as someone who was very kind on the internet, because that doesn't happen too often. So during the pandemic, I was doing some more freelance art, and I was still doing guest spots on podcasts. And I was getting to a point where I was doing multiple podcasts because word got around that I knew a lot about 90s Nickelodeon. Who knew? And I felt, I'm doing all these spots. Why not do a podcast of my own? So the gears were turning in my head for a while. And, while I was doing my Buddy Television Nickelodeon themed live streams on Instagram, and Alex was doing his True 90s Nick exclusives with celebrities from Nickelodeon, we somehow crossed paths again. And he's like, "Hey, can you do a commission for my avatar for my Instagram page?" And I'm like, "Sure, I'd love to. It's good to see you again." And so after that happened, and he invited me to do one of his True 90s Nick exclusives with him, and I invited him to do my Snick themed Buddy Television episode, him and Sam, back when he was really young, around 5 years old. Aww. Yeah, it's amazing how much time has passed. But after just kind of mingling again, getting to know each other, we're like, "Hey, I want to do a podcast too. Do you want to do it with me? It seems like we both know a lot about 90s Nickelodeon, so what do we have to lose?" And so we decided then and there, after that exchange, that we wanted to start it on the Nicktoons 30th anniversary, because it was a milestone of Nick history, and it seemed like a good place to begin our podcast. And so we just kind of hit the ground running, and we were promoting it like crazy on social media while I was laying the groundwork with all the lore, all the artwork, all the graphics, posting on social media, all that stuff. And little by little, it just started growing as we were putting all of our bricks into place for the foundation. And we ended up getting more guests than I ever thought we would have expected when we were first starting out. We started reaching out to fellow fans like Jasmine, who's a big fan of What Would You Do and Double Dare. And then we reached out to a Legends contestant. And then we had a big episode with the Are You Afraid of the Dark 30th anniversary reunion around the time that Scary Tales released on Kickstarter, and it seemed to coincide with it. And it seemed to go over so well that we just kept taking the momentum from there and deciding that we wanted to go from an audio only to a video podcast, because for the first few episodes of our podcast, it was pretty tough to edit in Audacity, which is a audio editing program. And we were like, you know what, this is too much fuss. We're not really making a lot of progress here. Let's try something else to smooth things out. And so we switched to Adobe Premiere so that we can get more visuals of what we were talking about. And that's when we started like recording our episodes and then building like not a user interface, but more like the visual look of our podcast with like the slime in the background and all the little cartoon characters from the bumpers. And that was pretty fun to see that evolve, because as things just kind of snowballs through time, we added more little details to it to make it feel more fleshed out, as if we were Nickelodeon ourselves, but just reinventing ourselves in the 2020s. And that was exciting because other people noticed, and we even continued to get more celebrity guests from Nickelodeon. Like Phil Moore was our next big one at the end of season 1. And even Joey Alblin too, who did a lot of the artwork for early 90s Nick shows. And so that was very encouraging for us to keep going and keep building upon this more and more and more and more. To the point that we started embodying a lot of the philosophies of Nickelodeon too, like Nick as Kids, make things every like bright and colorful and fun, and the constantly changing Splat logo inspired our logo too through the different iterations. And so it was exciting to see all of that unfold. And it seemed like Alex and I had great rapport together, great chemistry in terms of like creative vision that we shared together to just keep that moving forward. And eventually other people noticed, which allowed it to grow into, you know, the family that it is today of all of these different people: Manny, Jorde, Kat, Kiley, Megan, Sam. I mean, all of you guys were played a big hand in supporting us, Monica too, of course, in like helping us realize the vision. So I'm really grateful and thankful that we were able to get to this point and just keep it going with what started out as like trying to figure out how to put this together, but like getting a clear vision as we went further.
And for my side, I fell in love with Nickelodeon again because I've mentioned it before, around 98, I just stopped watching Nickelodeon altogether. Stopped watching kids' stuff in general. And Joe, who you all hopefully have seen in several episodes, commissioned me to do an art piece for him about Nickelodeon. And that started something back up, and I started diving back into Nickelodeon again. And the more I did, the more memories kept flooding back that I had completely forgotten about, and forgot just how cool Nickelodeon was back in that time. And I started trying to collect as much digital info as I could, the commercials, the promos, the episodes, everything, and try to make myself a little collection. And then I started trying to find a community that I could share all this with, because if I forgot this stuff, and what other things have other people remembered that I had forgotten? And I didn't quite find it very well on Facebook, but Instagram, the nostalgia community, 90s nostalgia community in Instagram was very, very strong and far more inviting. And I got involved there, started doing Instagram lives, just trying to connect with people. And then during 2020, I started reaching out to different celebrities just to see if they would like to do a Q&A. And that's really where that started. Venus DeMilo, I think, was my very first interview. And then right after that was Robin Russo and Chris Loban. And then right after that was Natanya Ross. They were my first 3 interviewees. And then that grew into a show that I didn't intend to become a show, but I started getting regular people who like to watch, and a few of them asked me, have you ever thought about doing a podcast? Well, I am now, and that's how that idea started to come up. And then I started taking steps to doing a little research, and then I also knew that it's the 90s Nickelodeon was more than just the people that made it. It was also the community that watched it. And I wanted to hear from other content creators, and that's how Brett and I really started working together, because he was my first fan/content creator interview that I had done. And when Brett said, I'm thinking about doing a podcast, and I had said, oh, I remember that too. I was thinking of that too. And one of the guys in the comment section said, oh, you guys should do it and call it 2 white guys talk about Nickelodeon. Like, thanks, appreciate that. And then right after the episode was done, or the interview was done, he and I kept messaging each other and said, we really should do this, and we did. And then you can see, if you go back and watch that first season, or even just listening to it, you can see how every episode there was a major new development, almost every single episode for season 1. And then season 2, less dramatic changes between episodes, and it was becoming more steady. But every season, just a little something else got added every single time, to the point where we have what we have now, which was really awesome. And I never would have thought that we would get to this point where we have a team and the fan base that we do, because we do have a fan base, or to the point where we go, we get recognized, because when we went to LA, people were recognizing me. Oh, you're with Splat Attack, to the point where the celebrities were pointing me out. Like, this is insane. I never would have thought that.
Yeah.
But Monica, I believe you were really, out of all of us, I think you were the first one. You and Megan were the next ones out of this crew who were on. So how did you get first started, and what has your experience been like?
Yeah, so I first got involved with Splat Attack. Brett and I were dating at the time, and he and I actually bonded over our love of 90s nostalgia, specifically Nickelodeon, even though he also had more like Cartoon Network nostalgia, and I had more TGIF, Fox Kids, other 90s nostalgia. But we both bonded over 90s Nickelodeon. So when he told me he wanted to start a 90s nostalgia podcast, because I also listened to Big Orange podcast, and that's how we met, through the DTV
Wienerville episode. And I also met Manny there too. So it's funny how fate crossed paths again.
Exactly.
To bring more of us together.
Yeah, it all comes full circle.
Yeah.
It's interesting how that kind of works out. But when Brett told me that he wanted to start a 90s nostalgia podcast, without hesitation, I was like, yeah, that definitely makes sense. You definitely got to start your own podcast. And yeah, it was very interesting, because at first we were long distance. And then eventually he moved with me. I was living in Memphis, Tennessee at the time. And
I was in Florida.
And Tampa. You were in Tampa, Florida, all the way over there.
Yeah. It seemed so far away until we met up.
Yeah, exactly. Just watching the podcast evolve over time. I'm not really one to be in front of the camera, or, like Brett kind of in front of the camera. I'm more of the, I guess I'll give my criticisms, and I guess comments, feedback. Yeah. Probably not. Criticisms is too harsh of a word. Yeah. I would say I'd give my feedback. I also had a couple of ideas, which eventually we did end up going through with those ideas, and I'll share those later as my favorite episodes. But yeah, it's very interesting, and it's very exciting to see you guys evolve as a podcast, from just having two guys talk about 90s nostalgia, and then all the guests that you guys managed to get on your podcast, and then how you guys have added people to your team. It's amazing, and you've built a community, and it's awesome to see this kind of evolution into like a whole, I guess, culture.
It's its own force of nature at this point. Like, it's 90s Nickelodeon redux. I don't even know how else to explain it. It's just like, okay, so Nickelodeon, in real life is waning, but our sensibility of Nickelodeon, the heart that we have related to the memories it gave us, it helped build a new Nickelodeon from the ashes. To celebrate, by the fans, for the fans. And that's what I love most about this podcast, is really, we're just putting in all the effort to make sure that people like us are remembering and enjoying and sharing all this stuff that's related to 90s Nickelodeon that we appreciate so much, and why it still matters. So kudos to you all, and for having a hand in making it to 100 episodes, and I'm sure many more to follow.
Yep.
Yeah.
Meg?
I honestly don't even remember the first episode I was on. I know you do. That's why I have you, because you remember things for me. Alex knew my love of Nickelodeon. Like, I wasn't as big into Nickelodeon as he was. I was more, I watched Disney Channel when I was growing up, but I did watch a lot of Nickelodeon, and yeah, he used to ask me, he's like, what was your favorite show? And I said, all that was my favorite. But I said, I do love a lot of the game shows too, so, but yeah, it started off just, hey, so Brett and I are going to do this episode about this, do you want to be in the episode with us? And then, okay, he's like, I think we're going to get Monica to come on too, so then we'll do like a, was it the couples episode?
Favorite 90s romantic
I just
romance.
thought, wait a second, if we got, because he was like, we're going to have Monica on too, then we'll do it. I was like, yeah, then we did a couple, that's right. Romantic couples, so now that's it. And it started from there, and just kind of guest starred, and then we did a versus episode, which we shall still not talk about that. Thank you, Prime.
the Michael Jackson
episode.
We
bracket.
should not talk about that because Prime hurt.
The alternate ending.
Yeah,
Yes.
the alternate. That was the fake ending, in case you didn't know. I was like, no, we don't talk about that. But then Alex said, so we're gonna. You got. I don't remember. What was it? Season 3, 4? When did Meg React start?
Oh, I don't
It was
know.
season 4.
4.
Season 4.
Well, yeah, as you guys got going, he was like, we did a Sam Reacts. Well, now I want to do one with you, just because I want to see your reaction to seeing commercials and see if you remember any of them. So then we got doing the Meg Reacts for a couple of seasons, and then thankfully this lady to my left of me had this marvelous idea with Kat about doing a girls' room
Manny.
series.
And Manny.
And Manny, yeah, our honorary girls' room. And that's been like the highlight. Like I look forward when we have a group chat now, and it's like, hey ladies, it's time for another episode. And we're like, oh
What do
yay!
you want to talk about? What do you want to do?
And what are we doing?
Just throwing stuff out.
Yeah.
Like, we don't have enough time to think about that. Okay, let's
just randomly talk about it.
parking lot that item. I love the girls' room. I think
At first I thought, okay, will it take off or not? Because I thought maybe a majority of our followers are guys, and I was like,
They
I don't
are. They
know.
are.
But oh my gosh, we've heard from so many people how much they love it, and I was like, okay.
Shout out to Jed.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was like, okay, so, and now I feel like I'm part of this crew. I still say no, I'm not, I'm just a sideline person.
Yes, you are part of the crew. Just
And
to
I
make
don't
that
mind
clear.
that because
Where's the girls' room?
these,
I went
you guys
from
do
saying
the work.
you and your to we and
our.
our.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where it all kind of started. Was Alex just going, hey, do you want to come be in this episode with us? And it was, okay, yeah, sure. What do I say? What do I talk about? And I'm like, well, we'll see.
If I could jump in here for 1 second.
No.
If you want to put a clip in here, you can. The very first time when Megan is introduced, you're just like, ah!
Every
this?
time, like he's terrified to see.
I love it.
I don't even remember
I'm
doing
like-
that.
Go back to the tape and check it out. Right here.
Oh, hi. There's somebody else here.
Who do you have next to you?
There's so many times when everyone would tell me, hey, do you remember when you did this thing? I'm like, no, I don't doubt it, but it sounds like something I would
Sounds
do.
like something I would do.
But I just don't remember doing it.
I feel like I'm Chris Farley, where the Chris Farley show was like, hey, remember that time we did that thing?
That was cool.
That was awesome.
Hey, Brett, remember that one time when it was the Halloween episode, you came out of like the shower curtain. I love that. That was awesome.
Jorde, how'd you get started?
So how I got my start with Splat Attack is a long and arduous tale. So it started somewhere around 5 to 6 years ago. I was working with Brett on a book that was for Are You Afraid of the Dark, which was the Scary Tales Kickstarter campaign that we worked on. He had been working on the book for a few years up to that point, but he needed help to get it out onto a Kickstarter. We wanted to do a large publishing. So we had a group that we were working together with, and we all contributed in different ways. My main things I contributed with was image animation stuff for the Kickstarter, as well as some of the additional assets that came along, depending on what tier you were in. like the stone throne, the little 3D stone throne and stuff. So after that project wrapped up and went well, the group kind of split up, but me and Brett stayed in contact, and we kept working on little projects here and there. One of those projects being BTV, which was like an MTV kind of idea that Brett had, using his character Buddy. And what we were going to do was something similar to like a VTuber kind of thing, but more like hosting TV show. It's a very complicated idea. But some of the ideas and seeds of that venture that we worked on, like the underground area and stuff, we would lead into ideas that we would use for Splat Attack. At least for the like story concept existing beyond Splat Attack. Started in underground, came up into the street, and then built the studio, and then the studio was complete, and now we're inside the studio. All that kind of originated back with some ideas that started with BTV. So when Brett and Alex started up the Splat Attack podcast, I would also help with some little assets here and there in the beginning. Same kind of stuff, animation, image asset stuff. And then also some editing as well, as later seasons started to develop, like Nightmares as a Child. Most of especially like the first half of those episodes, I did most of the editing on, if not all of the editing, I can't remember. But there was definitely the drawings and stuff from Brett and his recordings. So that was kind of some of the earlier beginnings of things I did with Splat Attack. And then as we progressed, more and more we desired to put in, led to more stuff being made, and to the point where just a few seasons back, I became like a full-time kind of, well, not full-time, I don't know how you want to look at it. I'm here a lot, co-host on Splat Attack. So we do episode spotlights and stuff. And I think before that even, there had been a few episodes I had guest starred on, especially Goosebumps related one. But yeah, it's a great time coming on, and obviously I have great chemistry with Brett and Alex. And I also did know Alex through Brett, early days, even before Splat Attack. Alex had Nick exclusives, 90s exclusives, and he still has the channel and the page. But he used to do a lot of the live streams on there where he would interview people. And those were like the early roots to these Splat Attack interviews with celebrities. And yeah, so I would jump on a few of those. I particularly remember being there for the actor that was present for Erie, Indiana. He was in episodes of Recess. He was a great voice actor. And he, you might recognize him as Harold from Hey Arnold as well. But he was character in Indiana. It was really fun. I love Erie, Indiana. I'd ask him questions about the show, and it was just a really good time. And that being an interest of mine, and talking more with Alex, we became better friends, and obviously that also led to me being incorporated into helping with things on the podcast. So those are kind of like the early starts, and obviously now I'm here. I do a lot of the animation stuff you see in the background. I think everyone kind of knows that at this point. Unless you're new, of course, welcome. This is our 100th episode. But yes, it was a great time. So I really appreciated being a part of the podcast. I really appreciate being able to add my own skills and talents in where I can, and combine those with the talents of those around me, especially like Manny's talent for creating these awesome, Stickly, these little tiny miniature sets, the live action sets for Splat Attack, and Alex's editing and his jokes, and is always dressed up and got some sort of outfit on or screen or background. Cats, everything about Space Cases, encyclopedic knowledge. Half the set is sitting behind her most of the time, or at least the props. From the show. And then of course Kiley and her expert skills with live streaming, which has really added a whole other layer to what we can do here at Splat Attack. So it's all together, we bring a lot together. But yeah, it's just really cool to be able to add my part into that, and I hope everybody enjoys the work.
How about you, Kat? How did you get started?
So just going back when I was 6 years old. No, how far back do you want to I was a wee child. I was born at a very early age. How many inside jokes can we bring up today? No, but I watched Nickelodeon almost exclusively when I was a kid. Like, that was always on, even in the background. I just absorbed all of the dialogue and all the shows. And I was the one who had command over the VCR. So I was the archivist. I had, like, tapes and tapes back when, you know, there was no streaming. You didn't know when you'd be able to see an episode again. If you missed it, it was done. You know, game over. So I started recording a whole bunch of Nickelodeon, and I don't know where most of those tapes are, but I do know where my Space Cases tapes are. They were on my shelf, and I managed to get the entire series. So Space Cases, as Jorde mentioned, was and is definitely my show. So smash cut to the year 2020 and the world shut down. Looking for sort of comfort television. I was talking to some friends of mine and who also happen to remember Space Cases, which is, it's kind of a niche show. Like, not a lot of people really remember it or remember it well. But there was a group of like 5 or 6 of us that then became a group of like 10 of us, and we had like virtual watch parties during the pandemic. So there was a small Space Cases group that formed. And I ended up, just through the miracle of the internet, much like Alex reached out to some celebrities, I ended up reaching out to and befriending some of the cast of Space Cases, which was cool. And then at that point, I want to say it was August 2021 when you, Alex, did that Splat exclusive with Anik, Walter, and Paul from Space Cases. And I helped sort of behind the scenes organize that a little bit. And then
there was no little bit. That
okay,
was
a lot of it.
Fine, a lot of it.
And I definitely said don't mention my name, and you mentioned it 4 times, but that's okay.
Well, I didn't want to take credit.
I know.
I'm not that guy that likes to take credit for other people's work.
Okay, so yes, I organized that. And then during season 2 of Splat Attack podcast, when you wanted to do something Space Cases related, you reached out to me and asked, hey, would you mind reaching out to some of the cast, see if we can get a retrospective together, and they graciously invited me to be on the podcast too, as the fan. So we had the cast, some of the cast, and then me as a fan. And that was a really cool moment, because I talked to some of these people before, but it hadn't been as in-depth. It wasn't sort of like this roundtable discussion, and it was a reunion of sorts. Like, they really hadn't been in the same virtual space at the same time to reminisce, and it almost felt like I was intruding in a way. But it was a really cool, like, we made this reunion happen, and that was a really special thing for, like, me as a fan to sort of give back to some people who inspired me when I was growing up. And then I got involved, I guess, little by little with the podcast. There was another Space Cases episode in season 3, I think. In season 4 or 5, I want to say, I did a couple more guest spots, and then I was brought on to help with making some reels and writing some scripts, and then brought on again, like, the next season as co-host with Manny, and we all just kind of joined. I want to say season 5 or 6. I forget, because they all do blend together.
They do, right?
Yeah, season 6, I guess. And yeah, we've been making reels, doing a whole bunch of content, and just gradually becoming part of the Splat Attack family as we've been building this crew. So it's been really cool, really special, and I'm grateful to be a part of it.
Manny?
I have a weird winding road with my experience with this podcast. So, I had no idea about what podcasts were, probably. This was like around 2016, 2017, probably. And I all of a sudden just was like, just looking through iTunes, just bored, because I could only listen to the same LimeWire song so many times. So I honestly feel like I wanted to look up something Nickelodeon, so I ran into the Big Orange Couch, which was like, oh, this podcast, I'll just listen to this. This is kind of cool. And I just wanted to throw my hat into the ring and just ask, you guys haven't done Wienerville. If you guys ever do Wienerville, I'm pretty much a huge fan. If you guys ever do it, let me know. And they got back to me a couple years later, which I'm amazed because they remembered my email. So they're like, okay, be on the show. So I did it, and I got to talk about the DTV episode. And the coolest thing about that is like, it kind of ties into Brett a little bit because he did the cover art for that episode. And that's how he met Monica. So, but after that, after I got done talking about the show that I loved, because I can't really talk about this show with my friends or anyone else. I mean, my family would, of course, like to listen to it, but they're like, they're like, oh, cool, you have an interest. You like this. This is great.
Good for you. Good for you.
Good for you. So, the other thing, but, I love my family. So, but the other thing is... But the other thing is like, I felt just so amazed and like, I don't know, kind of relieved, like explaining an episode that I really liked about a certain show that not a lot of people talked about at the time. And I kind of wanted to do more of it. So I emailed them again, asking them if they would have me on like whenever you need a guest or whatever. And I got to do their show 4 times. And I think after that, Heather actually helped me out with one of the other episodes. They had a write an episode crossover, and so I wanted to do Are You Afraid of the Dark meets Hey Dude, and so I had my wife help me.
Hey dude, are you afraid of the dark?
That was the title. That was the title of the story. And so we wrote it together because you know me, I'm not a big writer. So I sent it to her, and she's like, "Here, let me fix this and organize it a little better."
I went to school for this.
And I got to read the story, and that got Brett's attention, and he asked me like, would you like to be on Splat Attack? We're going to be talking to Mark Wiener soon. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely I would.
Yes.
And it was the Hanukkah special episode. That was the very first time I got to meet Brett and Alex together. Not to mention Mark and Max. That was a huge, huge thing.
You liked the episode, huh?
He was nervous.
I was extremely nervous because this is the first time I've ever seen them. I've always talked to them on the phone, but seeing them in person was nuts. It was crazy. So, of course, a lot of nervous energy and everything, but after the episode was over, Brett pulled me aside at the very end in a dark alley. No. No. Brett actually wanted to talk to me, and I shared some interest of like maybe working behind the scenes of a podcast, preferably the Splat Attack one as well, because I got to have some experience on Big Orange Couch. So Brett thought it over, and on the season 3 overview, they invited me on to be a staff member of this podcast. And so I'm thankful for Brett and Alex for giving me a shot to do this, and it's just been the most amazing experience I could ever imagine. So I'm really, really thankful for this every day, and it makes me feel like I have a purpose. So this is great. I love it.
Sam, how'd you get involved with the podcast?
Well, it was actually a request.
Sit up.
It was actually a request, but I don't love Nickelodeon as much as you all, but I remember that I still do love Nickelodeon, just most of it. Some of it I don't care much for, because
that's fair.
It's boring.
That's fair.
But I remember I was in 4th grade. I had on this app on my Chromebooks on videos that we had to do for class. I decided, hey, let's just watch one of those. And so I found one of those videos I made in 1st grade. I'm like, my name is Samuel. I'm 5 years old. My favorite show is The Secret World of Alex Mack. It's about this girl who has magic powers. And that's when I noticed about how much I love Nickelodeon. And then I remember, before that happened, I said, hey Dad, can I be on Splat Attack?
And I said, we'll see.
Yeah.
And then later on, when was it, season what?
Which
I don't
one?
remember what season.
I
What,
think it
for
was
Sam
Sam
Reacts?
Reacts.
Sam Reacts
Yeah.
was season 2, wasn't it?
I think.
2, yeah, Brett said 2.
Yeah. And that's when they started Sam Reacts. I was like, how old was I? 8?
You were tiny.
8 years
Yeah.
old.
No, 7
I
or
was
8.
small.
7 or 8.
You ever go back and watch those?
Yes.
Those older
Sometimes.
ones? Yeah.
I remember.
Oh, he loves to watch those because of the edits that Alex would make
Of me.
things he does to him.
The best one was the board games episode. I would laugh so hard. He's doing to me and slow it down and go.
Today, we are going to look at board games. Are you choking? I forgot I did that.
I got to look and watch a couple of episodes and mostly the intros because, I like it.
He likes to watch the intros. He thinks
Yeah.
they're fun.
And I got to guest star on the Halloween episode, I think.
Yeah, one of the Halloween and the Good Burger episode.
Yeah, the Good Burger episode. And then
Made a special appearance on the All That one.
And I also made an appearance on the season 6 trailer.
Yeah, that was great. Sam,
I'm okay.
get down from there.
Hey Dad, check this out.
Sam, get down from there.
Oh no, Sam! Sam, no!
I'm okay.
I gotta say though, some of my favorite moments, because when you were little, when it was just Brett and your dad, he would legit every time, like if it was right before he was going to bed, he was like, "Is Brett on? Yeah. Can I get on and say hi?"
Yeah.
Like he had to see Brett. He always had to see Brett. So, didn't he? Like every time
always.
we were like, "Sam wants to say hi." I was like, "Okay." So when Brett got to come in town, it was like, "Oh boy." I'm like, I apologize if my son jumped shoot because like he's very excited.
He's a huge fan.
But let's switch over to Kiley.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
Oh, hi. I don't remember which season it was. I think my first episode that I just joined as like a friend. Was it Wienerville?
It was Wienerville.
Okay, yeah. Which absolutely blew my mind because I just saw your post about it. Did you post? I think you made a post about it, and I was like, "Oh my god, I love Wienerville."
Yes, because I had a few of the extra Wienerville cards.
Yes.
And I wanted to make sure it got to other Wienerville fans, so I
And-
asked who else loved Wienerville, and you were the first one to say
and I was
something.
like, "Oh my god, I loved Wienerville," and a little while later is when you guys had already gotten the 30th episode on the docket, and I just remember getting a text being like, "Hey, you want to be on the podcast?" And I was like, "Okay, what is it about?" And he's like, "It's about Wienerville." I was like, "Yeah, okay, great." And then he was like, "Yeah, Mark and Max Wiener are gonna be on it." And I was like, "I'm so sorry, what?" I thought we were just like talking about it.
Oh, we are.
And he was like, "Yeah, Mark and Max Wiener are gonna be there." And I was like, "Okay, great." And much like Manny, I was like, "Oh my god, I don't even know how to deal with this." And so my poor roommate Mallory, I immediately pulled up YouTube and was like, "Have you ever watched Wienerville?" And I put it on. And of course, anyone who's been on YouTube, it's just like a random playlist of Wienerville. Like, there's no rhyme or reason to it, and it just throws you into the craziness. But yeah, so I exposed my roommate to Wienerville. I think she thought it was just an acid trip. And the whole time I'm so excited because I'm getting to relive this show. And like, I remember talking to my mom, because you should all talk to your mothers, give your mothers a call, tell them that you love them.
That's right.
And like in our weekly check-in, I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna do Alex's podcast," and she was like, "Oh, what's it about?" And I was like, "Oh, it's about Nickelodeon, like back in the 90s, and it's an episode on Wienerville, and I get to talk to Mark Wiener." And my beautiful mother, who I've talked about so many times, who also listens to this, hi Mom, I love you, got so excited, and she was like, "Oh, you used to run around singing the Boney song all the time as a kid." And I was like, "I know, I love it." Cut to, that's when I first met Manny, because Manny was also in that episode, which was my first episode. and just had the best time. I had no idea what I was getting into, had such a great time, and then I was like, oh, that was fun. And then not like, maybe a month or so later, I got another text and it's like, hey, you want to be on the podcast again? I was like, yeah, what are we talking about this time? And we did like was it the Keenan and Kel?
All that.
The All That
All
episode. And I think my third one before officially joining the group was.
And then you did the game on because you.
Oh, I did. Yeah, I did the game on while I was
in
visiting home for a holiday, which was fun, and I just like beating Alex at games. It's one of my favorite things. And my last unofficial episode was The Boss Lady, which blew my mind because I learned so much that I didn't know about my childhood by learning, like, the CEO of Nickelodeon was a woman. Like, there was a woman who was in charge of everything that I was exposed to, and it was so fun. Plus, at that point, I didn't have skin in the game, so if you go back and watch the video of that episode, when they all get the bomb dropped on them by her and are just uncontrollable, I just have the biggest dumb smile on my face because I was like, I get to witness this awesome thing happen, not thinking anything about it. And then the following morning, you like checked in with me about the episode, and then you're like, hey, by the way, do you want to join the podcast? The crew thinks you'd be a great fit. And I was like, oh,
yeah,
okay, great, what do I do? And he was like, we're gonna have a meeting, you'll just come in, we'll figure it out. And I was like, okay, great.
Manny and I suggested, we're like, hey, if we need to add more people, Kiley's awesome. Want to ask her if she wants to do this with us? Like,
I was just like, oh my god, they like me. Like Alex does.
You really like
me. You know. And like when we were talking about things, I was trying to think of something I could bring to the table because I'm not great with writing. I'm unfortunately not great with media or art in any way other than like performing arts. But in my spare time, which not so much anymore, but I still do, I did a lot of streaming with my gaming groups, doing like tabletop games, like D&D, streaming. So I had a lot of live streaming under my belt, and I was like, oh, is that something you guys want to do? Because I know you guys do the like Patreon, Gakoi type stuff, but I was like, what if we did some that weren't behind a paywall? Because that's another awesome way to interact with people in real time who are fans of what you're doing. And so we did. We started Splat Chats Live. We did, which I thought I was going to ruin every single second of the time, which was the giant, what did we call it? Go Figure. I always forget what we actually called it. But we did Go Figure, which in the moment was an absolute nightmare, and I thought I was going to have a heart attack because everything kept going wrong. But everybody loved it.
Great.
Everyone had nothing but good things to say, and I watch it and I'm like, oh, everything's wrong. And we're planning hopefully another one. And now, you know, the first meeting I did, I was trying to come up with ideas, and you guys have covered so much stuff that I was like, I don't know that I'm gonna have original enough ideas that aren't too similar to what you've done. And I had an idea, and before the meeting even happened, I was like, I messaged Alex and I said, I have to talk to you about this because if it's an awful idea, I don't want to say it out loud. And I was like, I'm thinking about I was like, I know your viewership is mostly male, but there are so many women who are 90s Nickelodeon fans. I was like, what if we do a specific segment that's just for the girls? And then he goes, you know what's hilarious? Manny had the same idea. He's like, this is perfect. And so we started Girls Room. The first episode was just Kat and I, and we were like, we need more. Like this, It was nice, but it wasn't enough. And Megan and Heather had heard about it, and they were like, let us in, please. And we were like, of course, 100%. And like Meg said, Girls Room is the highlight for me. I love what we do, but there is something so special about Girls Room where we get to just sit and yap about girl stuff and
fangirl.
Yeah. And the response we've gotten, and like, you know, even the men love Girls Room. You know, it's like the response we've gotten about getting to talk about what it was like being a girl in the 90s has just been so great. and I'm excited about what we have coming up.
And Heather.
I actually don't remember what my first episode is, but I'm sure you do.
Yes, it was the Full House episode.
Yes, was it?
Yeah, we did the Full House one together.
Okay, I couldn't remember if that
There
was
was
my
one
first
before
or
then, wasn't there?
Wasn't there?
I don't
Oh
know.
my god, it was the Splat Chats. It was the
You
very
definitely had
first.
Splat
It was the
Chats.
very first Splat Chats about Disney. Disney
Oh,
Renaissance.
Renaissance.
Yeah,
Yes.
actually shot over here. Actually.
Yes, yes. And I know.
Are you in frame?
Oh, I'm here. Throw yourself.
Recline!
You gotta get your beautiful face in frame.
yourself.
Like for me, I listen to podcasts all the time. Like that's what I do at work because I can listen and pay attention, but also focus on what I'm doing because I really have to focus on what I'm doing with my job, or I get in big troubles. So. For me, it watching Manny like on the show because I wasn't a huge Nickelodeon person. I didn't know if she was gonna knock over everything. I wasn't a huge Nickelodeon person, much like Meg. I was a Disney kid.
Yeah.
And I would watch like Nick Jr. with my little sisters because my sisters are 6 years younger than me, so whatever I consumed had to be basically what they wanted to watch. So I remember Wienerville. I remember Hey Arnold, Hey Dude, Salute Your Shorts. Those were like my favorites. And the first time like Manny and I talked about Wienerville, I was like, oh my gosh, I remember that. Like I know who that is. And it was just so cool to me that I'm like, wait, you know him? And like just it blew my mind and getting to talk to him on the phone. One of the kindest humans. Like
Absolutely.
Actually, he sent for our wedding because we invited him to the wedding. He sent us a video on the day of our wedding of Boney sending us wedding congratulations.
Oh,
So,
yeah, that's so sweet.
Getting to watch that was really cool.
Absolutely, it blew me away.
And then getting to like face to face, you know, through the screen, meet him was just like mind-boggling to me. Hi, baby. And to just see like, I had listened to it with Manny, and like I got to know you guys through Manny, but seeing wife brag moment, like seeing Manny's confidence change because he was freaked out about having to record.
Yeah.
Like he would be a ball of nerves on like a day that he had to record. To like now he's like, okay, see you later. Okay, like it's just this, it's this huge change. Like seeing in his personality and like the friendship, between the family, between everybody. I just love that. Just it makes my heart so happy because I'm happy when he's happy. You know, that's that braggy moment.
Honey's emotional too.
You so upset. So happy that we're not talking about you though. It's okay. Not everything's about you. It's about me right now.
The backstabber.
Oh, she hit my toe. And then she laughed. She's smiling. She's like, I did that. But I love the Girls Room episodes. I love being creative with you guys and like talking about it. We've had issues with like internet at work, so sometimes I'll have the video on YouTube playing. People will walk by and be like, wait, are you watching yourself? I am. Okay,
Yes,
just
I
like
am. Yes, it looks
but
beautiful,
wait,
and I had really interesting things to say.
what are
that
you
day.
talking about? Kind of thing. And people being like, wait, what's it called? Splat Attack? I'm gonna go watch it now at my desk. So like really cool getting and like talking about like, going to the convention. I didn't realize that so many people that I worked with, I forget that we're the same age sometimes.
Yeah.
And them like, wait a second, I loved Wild and Crazy Kids. Shout out, Derek. It's been cool because I didn't realize like these connections that I could have with other people just over a show.
Yeah.
So
and even the connections with the guests, like some of the biggest like heartwarming moments for me were, you know, talking to creators of shows that were so important to me, and like giving my opinion on something, or being like, the way you did this really taught me this as a kid, and their reactions being like, I love that that's what you got out of it. Like, and them talking about how every time they talk to fans of the shows that they feel how much they're, you know, they're just little fun cartoons impacted kids.
Yeah.
Even in ways they didn't intend.
Yeah.
And it's just been so great.
Enough about the history of Splat Attack. Splat, Stanley, what are we going to be talking about next?
Gee, I had no idea there was such rich history to how this whole thing came together. Well, let's look at some favorites. Alrighty, Splat crew. What are some of your favorite episodes, moments, and guests?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many favorite moments to choose from. I mean, with 300 episodes of content, how can you just narrow it down to a few? I mean, my God. But if I'm just picking off stuff that immediately comes to mind without judging or ranking or anything like that, I got to go with Doug's Lucky Hat first and foremost, because that was the first time where I was like feeling a moment of doubt in myself, like, can we even do this? We're having such a hard time getting guests for the past couple of episodes that we want. And I'm having a hard time like writing the notes for this. But sure enough, I just like, you know what, even though we couldn't get Billy West for this episode, I figured, let me just reach out to Jim Jenkins, see where he is. But unfortunately, that was a little bit harder than expected, because he didn't have a really like prominent social media presence at the time, and his old website, Cartoon Pizza or something, he didn't really have like up-to-date contact information. But I did find an email buried in there. So just on a hope and a prayer, I reached out to him and say, hey, we're doing an episode review on our podcast of Doug's Lucky Hat. It's one of my favorite episodes. Would you like to join us for that? And I didn't even expect him to say yes, but it was such a beautiful surprise to see him agree and come on and see us as two Doug fans talking about this show.
I think I was sitting in the living room and you were sitting in the room editing, and you had your email opened up. And I'm pretty sure when you got the email from Jim Jenkins, I heard like a Ned Flanders scream.
Yeah.
I was like, what happened? And you're like, Jim Jenkins, come back to me.
It is exciting when you make contact with your heroes. I mean, I felt the same way with the Sardo's Magic Mansion episode with Richard Dumont and D.G. McHale coming on, because I looked up to them on watching Are You Afraid of the Dark, and just making that happen, despite the fact that Richard couldn't make the 30th anniversary, was a blessing in disguise, because we got to talk more in depth with him about all the Sardo episodes he did, even the Curse of the Shadows one that came out that same year. And because it had such depth to our conversation, it became one of our most popular episodes on Splat Attack, which who knew? Another episode that really comes to mind is from season 5, when we first got to talk with Craig Bartlett from Hey Arnold. And that was with our Jungle Movie, Parents' Day, The Journal, you know, triple episode review, because they're all related, those episodes in the movie. And just being able to hear his candid responses about like how he made Hey Arnold and why he chose this specific subject matter to like really go heavy with how, you know, Arnold was always estranged from his parents, but now we get to see why in these episodes leading up to why his parents were never there. And it's just really touching moment to not only understand like the reasons behind him doing the episode, but also it inspired me to get back to my graphic novel and work on that and like truly tell a deep, heartfelt story. Real quick, I'm just going to mention this one as well. Even though it was a mini-sode, I really enjoyed a conversation with David Stephen Cohen, who is sadly no longer with us because he had passed since we recorded it. But it was the first time we got to talk Cartoon Network on the podcast. And it was even during the writer's strike too, when they're having issues negotiating contracts out in LA. But because I got to hear his take on like the episodes he worked on, Encourage the Cowardly Dog, and like his process for coming up with ideas and like the importance of writing with heart, it just seemed like it was meant to happen. And I'm really thankful for the wisdom that he imparted on us in that episode, even if it wasn't necessarily 90s Nickelodeon related. So I'm grateful for all those moments because of those rare encounters where I thought they couldn't happen, but they totally did?
So a couple of favorite episodes that I have, of course, I'm biased because I was on those episodes, and they were my idea. The first one is the Treehouse of Horror episodes. I love The Simpsons. I would say that probably the first like 10 seasons, I'm one of those fans. But I love the Treehouse of Horror episodes. I love Halloween in general. So when you guys would have your Halloween episodes, the first one I was like, you got to do Treehouse of Horror. You got to do the Treehouse of Horror. And finally, I got my wish. And filming the intro with Brett, he did such a good job. We purposefully wanted to do something silly, kind of emulating Marge coming onto the stage. And I was like, well, we don't have a stage, but we have a shower with the shower.
They both have curtains. Yeah, give it a shot.
And I believe Alex filmed the graveyard
that was
scene.
really good.
So that was really good. So I really loved how that intro worked out. And of course, I have to give a huge shout out to Alex because not a lot of people know this. Maybe Megan, because I'm sure he complained about it, but we filmed that whole episode twice.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very long episode, but we filmed it twice because I'm not one to be in front of the camera, and it's one of those situations where I had so much I wanted to say, but of course, when I got in front of the camera, I was like, I like this episode because it's fun. Yep. And
expert opinion right there.
Right, exactly. And then afterwards, I was kind of, irritated. I'm like, I had so much to say, like, can Alex just do it again? Just please ask him. And thankfully, Alex had so much on his plate, but thankfully he agreed to film it again. So
thank you for that, Alex.
Thank you so much. We had so much going on, and you also, but thankfully you made time to film it all over again. It took us 2.5 hours, almost
per
3
episode each time, each recording.
3 hours.
Yeah.
That's my first favorite one. The second favorite one was also another idea of mine. So I loved watching Beyond Belief, Fact or Fiction, and it's a show that not a lot of people know about. But I really wanted to do it during the Halloween time. And thankfully, Brett and Alex accepted the idea. And Alex actually filmed a really good intro for that episode.
Yeah.
Like the music playing in the background, his monologue, the visuals.
Yeah, it matched it to a T. I was very impressed because originally we were going to do it at our new apartment, in front of a fireplace at the clubhouse, but he's like, no, I got this one. I'm like, okay, I don't know what you got cooking up, but have at it. And he did not disappoint. So I'm really happy he, really owned the task, and together we made that another great Halloween episode.
Absolutely. Yeah. And just preparing for those episodes, just rewatching a bunch of episodes. And I guess, Brett, you never had any experience, or you never really watched the show growing up, right?
No, I actually watched it in preparation for the episode. I've heard about it in my peripheral when I was watching Fox at night with my dad on the weekends on occasion, but never really got into it. But thanks to this girl, I got to see a whole bunch of episodes, and it was really fun to watch it with her because she pointed out things that I might not have noticed, or some of her favorite reenactments, and just little quirky things that Jonathan Frakes does that I've since appreciated, some of the ways he talks, some of the weird illusions that he present to the viewers, and also the way he finishes a sentence like this. What do you think?
That cheesy smile.
Waiting for you to also smile. Yeah, that's great. So I developed a new appreciation for her suggestion of this show.
Yeah. And a couple of other honorable mentions. I really liked the episode with Mr. Whizzer. Of course, I still am a nerdy girl who loves science and, watching Bill Nye the Science Guy. I actually don't think I watched much of Mr. Wizard. I think he came on really, really early in
like
the
6
morning.
a.m.
Yeah. So I caught a couple of episodes, but just rewatching the episodes with Brett, and watching the episode that you guys did on, I guess, Mr. Wizard, I really loved that episode, and I can't believe I didn't get into him growing up, but it's so sad he was reduced to the 6 a.m. slot.
Yeah, he deserved way more attention. Like,
yeah, but you guys did a really good job covering that show.
Yeah. And also, thankfully, you let me borrow your lab coat so I can pretend to be a mad scientist for that.
Oh, my white coat, yeah.
Yeah.
And I also enjoyed the episodes with Nick and Josh.
Yeah, Nick and Josh.
They are hilarious.
I love them.
Like, you guys got to have them back on.
Somehow.
They're hilarious. I loved hearing their experience on Legends of the Hidden Temple. And I guess when they came back on Legends of the Hidden Temple years
later.
For
the 30th anniversary episode.
Yeah. And they were hilarious. And I mean, there's definitely way more. I mean, obviously, like the Michael Jackson.
Yeah. Oh, that was fun.
Bracket. Yeah, the elimination bracket episode, that was great. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna stop there because I could go on and on about the different episodes.
Well, you watched the Boy Meets World one with me, even though you didn't end up being on that as a guest or co-host, and I find that was a lot of fun too to get to know that as a series in preparation for it, because I didn't really watch TGIF outside of the occasional Family Matters episode or like dinosaurs. But you showed me how like these characters interact with each other in school and grew up together and really establish like a rapport and a deep relationship with their teacher, Mr. Feeney. And so by getting through the whole series with you, I got to like grow with them and really appreciate their journey. Yeah. And it's just another instance where I'm glad you introduced me to something that I didn't think I would like at first, but I turned out really enjoying a lot.
Jorde, what about some of your favorites?
Oh boy. So favorite episodes. I think my first place to start obviously is the Shelby Woo episode. It was an anniversary. It was sort of an anniversary, more of a reunion. But it was an awesome experience. Being able to bring all of the crew back together. I mean, Alan was there, Irene was there, who many people haven't heard from in decades. I mean, we had everyone there. Detective Heinlein. We had Noah. It was just a really good time. And the stories from about Pat, jumping on cars, to Alan falling into gator infested swamps. It was just a really, really tremendously awesome episode. To see them talking, it was like being on a fly in a wall in a room with an entire family reunion. I almost don't want to interrupt them to ask them questions because it's just so interesting. But it was a super awesome experience to talk to all of them, to share some of my appreciation for the show with them, and to hear those stories. So that standout episode to me, if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. It's one of, I think, the best episodes on Splat Attack, personally speaking, as a Shelby Woo stan over here. So then other episode that I really like to do was the Goosebumps battle episode. I'm a huge Goosebumps fan. I love talking about Goosebumps. I love scarecrows. I love dummies. I love creeps. I love ghouls, monsters, pretty much anything that comes, horrors for you Goosebumps fans. Any of that stuff. So talking Goosebumps, comparing it to Are You Afraid of the Dark, two of my favorite shows that have a lot of similarities between each other. It was just a really fun episode. Obviously, Brett and Alex are so fun to have these discussions with about it. And the episodes particularly were so similar to each other that it seemed worthy of having an episode battle kind of versus thing with it. So that was another really, really fun episode to do. Obviously, I wasn't there for the Jerry episode as much as I had wanted to be. That's such a cool episode to have the head of Nickelodeon present for an interview, to be able to talk. But, I mean, all of these episodes are just so incredible. Having the cast of shows on, having contestants, host, like Mark Summers, being able to meet these people in real life like we did. down in LA. Being able to hang out with Phil Moore and get to talk to him is a crazy experience. So it genuinely, it's so hard to pick episodes because the entire experience of the show has just been so rewarding. And then just a larger note is, I know I brought this up before, but it's the overall theming and creating this studio, creating this backstory, all these elements that you see that surround us in these boxes on the podcast. It's just really fun to make. I'm a 3D designer. I do design for a living. So to take that stuff and put it into like my passions for 90s nostalgia, 80s nostalgia, even some early 2000s nostalgia here and there is really, really fun and really cool to do. And working with the team and Alex, especially when we do research for things like the slime geyser, trying to get 360 shots of something from 30 years ago that's degraded and that now there's no even reference for in physical world, only photos and videos. Nickelodeon Studios inside, even the desk that we have in Splat Attack Studios is based off of a real desk that existed in Nickelodeon Studios. So we try to incorporate a lot of what was at Nickelodeon Studios, especially into these more current seasons like 7 and 8, where we've actually built Splat Attack Studios. And I'm a big theme park fan, so looking at all that stuff is really fun and interesting to me. I'm no Kevin Perger, but I love me some theme parks as well, so recreating a slice of a theme park in 3D was a really fun experience, and we continue to build it out. There will be more rooms as time goes on. We keep adding more rooms, so it's a really fun thing. Not particularly an episode, but something I really do like about being a part of Splat Attack.
I've got 2 short ones. I already talked about how much Girls Room means. I think my favorite random moment during an episode was the Weederville 30th anniversary episode where they asked me to sing the Boney song out loud, and then in one, I don't remember if it was our break or like after we were wrapped filming, and Mark was talking to remind me of the other guest's name, not Max.
Ray Abruzzo?
Yes, Ray. Or Ray was talking to Mark and was like, oh, we should get Boney a girlfriend and she can be Boney's girlfriend. And I was like, I would be honored. Yes, sign me up. I'm here. But I think my all-time favorite episode is still, it's going to take a lot to beat it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, it's going to take a lot to beat it.
Oh, yeah.
It was the character study of Skeeter and Gerald with Jim Jenkins and Craig Bartlett.
Yeah.
That episode was magical. Them finally having a space where they, not in the same room, but in the same room, and like just, we could have not said a single word that entire recording, and we would have gotten so much information, and them just having a good time. And I know we shared it on the Instagram, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
That Jim sent Craig a cell, and they were,
And vice versa.
Yeah, and they
Geeking out
exchanged
over each other.
Yeah, they
Yes.
exchanged cells, and and seeing them getting lost in their stories about like people who were on both shows and like memories, and it was just, there was something so magical about that, and especially for the creators of 2 of really my favorite shows, because the Nicktoons was really where I was at. I loved all that and all of that, but like if I had to pick my favorites, it's always going to be under the Nicktoons umbrella. But like seeing those 2 creators just kind of nerd out over each other and just talk like like friends and reminisce was just absolutely magical, and it's my all-time favorite episode I've been involved with.
I have 3. I like the moment whenever in the Roundhouse episode when you mentioned that I don't know, I forgot what it was, but this dude got in front of this wheelchairs dude way as they were.
Oh yeah. Ivan Dudunsky was in the way of John Crane when he
using-
was using that giant motorized recliner. Did you have
What was
anything
your
else,
third
or was
one?
that it?
That was it.
That was it. Okay.
I
The
got
Good
it.
Burger episode, he said, was the
Oh.
3rd.
Was my
I've got a
favorite.
couple.
Go ahead.
of course, the Space Cases episodes, all of them. But the first one was really special that I mentioned earlier. And then the one where this guy...
Oh, no, what?
Somehow got Christian Air to come on and talk about Space Cases, which I didn't think was ever going to happen.
Yeah.
And that was back to back with the Boss Lady episode.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that whole week was insane.
Yeah.
And then that was back to back with Shelby Woo, I think, too. It was like 3 big ones in a row, and my mind was just blown. But for sure, the Boss Lady. I knew Jerry Laybourne was the boss lady of Nickelodeon at the time. I remember getting Nick Magazine and seeing her with all the pencils in her hair, you know, the boss lady, and just getting to talk to her about...
And you even got to do that, too.
I put pencils in my hair. It was like a tribute to that one. But it was like a small gesture of respect with all the pencils in the hair. No, but it's like she created a big chunk of something like meaningful to my childhood, and just getting to thank her for that, even if we didn't have a huge long conversation, I just wanted to say thank you. But just hearing her talk about all of her story, like, that was just a really surreal moment that whole day. And talking to the creators, some of the creators too, Tommy Lynch about Alex Mack and Nick Creed.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, now I remember.
Again, another instance where we could have just sat back and had popcorn and just listened to them talk to each other for 2 hours. Would have been great.
The balloons. The balloons moment.
I mean, that's iconic. We reference it constantly because apparently Zoom and Mac does this thing where if you do a peace sign, I'm not sure if it
or like
happened.
thumbs up. Or,
yeah, the peace sign is what triggers the balloons, but he was doing air quotes, and it triggered balloons. He was like, "Why do I have balloons on my screen right now?"
The thing was, he was in mid-sentence and he stopped and he was like, "There's balloons."
The dad was a scientist, was based in my dad, but the good version of my dad. That's not who my dad was. Right? I
This
get
is a
balloons.
Zoom thing. No, this is a Zoom thing. I'm surprised. Like, have you had this? Haven't you had this?
I've had that happen to me before.
I love it.
No, it's the thing that comes up if you go like this in meetings. Sometimes you get a thumbs up.
Oh, I love that.
You won't be able to do it again.
So anyway,
yeah,
it was so funny. So many moments like that in those interviews.
Yeah.
It's so good. You can't not share those.
Like the Uranus joke at the end of the Space Cases episode.
I'm not sure that you are my commander, Mr. Alex, but what if we stop off at Radu's home, Uranus?
Bova, do you have a map of Uranus?
And just so many episodes that I wasn't even in, but like I watched like the Space Ghost one recently with you guys. That was just magical, and it just flowed so well, and just the Splat Stanley intro, like it was great. I loved watching that.
That was so much fun.
But Are You Afraid of the Dark? I could just keep going on, and I won't. But like there have just been so many great moments and experiences and episodes that we've filmed, and I'm looking forward to what we have in store this season and beyond.
Bless you.
I've been slimed.
Why is it sticky?
Joy, why is it sticky?
Why is it sticky?
I'll add one quick thing. I love how much the crew is getting to meet our friends and falling in love with our friends.
Yes. Segue from that and then go after that.
Yeah.
Go. First of all, I want to say I can't believe nobody has said that the best moment was from the blooper reel of the Roundhouse episode with Brett's internet.
Oh, that was Welcome Freshman.
That was our Welcome Freshman.
Welcome
Okay,
Freshman.
yeah, Welcome Freshman. Sorry, but that was so iconic.
Edit for you, Alex. This is annoying. I happened to stumble upon this very strange Nickelodeon show. No! It froze again! Oh my gosh. It's never been this bad before, ever. For my number 5, it is The Grass is Always Greener from season 2, episode 9. And Billy Cushman kind of giving her a hard time and just being really gross.
And every person we've worked with has been fantastic. Hello. Favorite moment thing are those moments whenever I was doing a one-on-one recording with somebody, like with you, Brett, or with you, Kat, or with you, Manny, and I would have to step away because I'd have to put Jensen to bed, and while I was gone, these three would just start improvising to the camera.
Oh, I'm here, all alone, in the laboratory. Not causing any trouble with this weather machine. I wonder what will happen if I press this button. Oh, it's raining. Oh, it's snowing. Oh, it's thundering. Ooh, there's a tornado. Oh, what does this button do? Oh man, it blew me to bits.
I know I'm fired.
Make a wish, and it will come true. You will like Splat Attack, the podcast for you 90s Nickelodeon fans. Listen to the Buddha, the colorful Buddha. Whoop, 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 whoop. I wonder why he's eating rice.
I loved when we made a whole new reality show. Because you had to step away, I think, for kids. And
oh yeah,
with Jorde, we came up with a whole new Legends of the Hidden Temple home restoration show. And like, I realized how long we had been talking, and I was like, I can't wait until Alex edits this video because he's gonna have to listen to all of this.
Yeah, we were doing the overview.
Yeah,
and that's when oh
my God. We made up a whole show synopsis.
That kind of stuff happens to us in the girls' room. We're like, you can cut this out here.
This is not important.
And he doesn't.
Or you could end the episode early. I love that joke.
Yeah.
The credits roll at the beginning.
Yes.
Yeah. And Alex can't get
Alex
mad.
isn't here, so
Nope. Not
he
here.
can't say anything about the Spice Girls, although he can
That's
edit it
right.
out. But please don't, because
If he edits out the Spice Girls, I will drive back.
I will
home.
drive over.
I will drive back
hunt him
home
down,
and I'll kick his butt.
Whatever, I do what I want.
Yes. I was like, that's why.
I forgot I did that.
Because sometimes they'll ask me, like, why are you watching your own episode? Because you're in it. And I'm like, because
I don't know what he
did.
I need to know what the edit is.
I need to know what his edit is going to be.
I need to know if the edit is going to make me look like a horrendous
I was
human.
like, I gotta see what he
or
does.
what dumb video jokes he puts in there.
Editor's commentary.
That's
how I know how Alex felt about the episode based on what jokes he edits in.
But to go off what she was saying, one of I think some of my favorite episodes. One of them is definitely the Haunted Mask versus episode with
Joe and
Kevin. Two of my favorite people in the entire world.
My
Joe
husband.
and Kevin. Yes, Kyle's husband.
Not actual
even
husband.
though but it's gonna happen. I'm like they're just going to. I don't care. But I knew when Alex was like, I'm gonna have Joe and Kevin on this episode. I'm like, oh my gosh. Our viewers are in for a treat because
they're hilarious.
Look, at some point my schedule is going to work, and I'm going to be there.
I'm going to be this episode.
And it's going to be a nightmare for everyone who watches that episode
We have
because
plans.
I will only feed off of their energy because that's what happens.
And you can't forget the da da da.
She pulls it off slowly, and at this moment I realized she kind of looks like a young female James Vanderbeek.
It does.
From now on, anytime I have anything shocking in the show, I'm gonna have that response with like the dramatic da da da. It's come to another thing I really love about the show is we've got to a point where we have our own memes now that we're inserting within the episode.
I love every time we have a Splat Chats live and Jorde is late and I just get to put the "you've been Jordied up" in place of his video. It's my favorite.
Yep. I really enjoyed the Friends Thanksgiving version.
Yeah, that was.
I was so excited about that.
That was fun because like I'd been begging Alex to do a Friends episode. I was like, it needs to be Thanksgiving themed because it's like that's what they're known for is all their Thanksgiving episodes. And I was like, please. So like he finally did. He's like, hey, we're gonna do it. So I got to help pick with choices of the episodes, but that was so much fun to do. So that was a highlight for me. And then I absolutely still love the Meg reacts. I enjoyed doing those.
I liked watching
I don't really
Meg
have
reacts.
Yeah, I was like, I really don't have a favorite, but
The best Meg reacts was when you were having the food from the UK that Gerard sent
oh
us.
my god, that's probably the best. Yeah.
Like baked coffee is what it smells like.
Smells like burned French fries. Hardened.
You ready?
3, 2, 1, let's eat. I'd have this if it wasn't burnt. No.
That tastes like disappointment.
Yeah. I think they burnt it.
Branches of trees.
Tree bark. Here, Sam, you want some tree bark? Go.
That was mine.
Any other favorites?
Manny got slimed.
Yeah, I got slimed.
I'll see if I can find them, but I don't know.
Oh!
I forgot!
Yeah, I'll explain that
The
real
cleanup
quick.
was not my favorite episode.
Yeah, you see, like, when we were doing the Geraldine episode, I thought it would be cool if, like, I could actually get slime. So I put a trash bag, opened it up, and put it, like, underneath the chair.
Mm-hmm.
And so right at the very last moment of the episode, Heather poured slime on my head, which was just vanilla pudding with food coloring.
Consistency.
Which episode was that?
We need to take that out of the fridge so it's not ice cold for the slimering.
Yes,
Slimering?
the slimering.
The slimering. Because that picture afterward of your glasses all slimed, it looked like the cover of Monster Blood from Goosebumps.
Yeah, literally.
Now what I
These
did
were
is-
solid green.
I
right
did
here.
not take into consideration how gravity works and
I don't either,
and
and
the
it just
velocity
happens.
that would it made way more mess than I thought it was going to
Me
because
too,
it
yeah.
was a splatter situation. So I was like, I'm covered in it. I was like, I'm not on
Why is
camera.
it sticky?
Right?
And I don't know. I really think like just the moments, not just in person, but moments when we could all do like lives, because those are like my favorite things. I love doing the lives and I love doing the Splat Chats because it's like casual conversation.
Yeah.
But I just really like how we all just grown as a group and like getting to conversate and just getting to know each other and just making memes about ourselves and stuff. So it gives like an input on our lives reflecting onto the viewers watching. So that is usually what I look forward to as well. And of course you just mentioned the Space Ghost one. That was like that was a dream come true for me too because I idolized that show. Other than Wienerville, Space Ghost is another show that I
I love
idolized.
getting to just watch you nerd out. Like, cause I love Space Ghost, but I don't have nearly the knowledge of Space Ghost that either of you have. But just getting to watch you nerd out in this beautiful, conversation was fantastic.
I didn't even watch Space Ghost. Like, I have limited knowledge of Space Ghost, but just I understood everything that you're talking about in the episode. Like, the context was there, the passion was there, obviously, and it was just great.
Nice. And especially doing the Splat Stanley stuff.
I was gonna say that's been my favorite part,
Because
getting to be
this,
involved with
this
that.
woman right here helps me out with like a lot of the tough shots.
Any favorites for you?
Between that and then just getting like, I love honestly like your chat comment, like what's it called? See, my mouth's
Slide
going
chat?
to my brain.
The comment section.
Your group chats. Like,
Oh, okay.
getting, like,
the personal chats between all of us.
yes, like the group chats, getting the messages.
The girls
and,
room chat is great. We'll make a joke in an episode, and then for weeks later, we just have memes and videos of like the one joke that happened. It's great.
So one of the things that I loved the most about the show, outside of everything that's already been listed that the crew has already mentioned wonderfully, but it's one, hearing from all of you. Whenever we get to hear that we've, one, have a fan base, and two, that they've connected with not just the content that we share, but even beyond that, to the point where they see the camaraderie that we have and they feel included in that in some capacity, really warms my heart to know that we've made an impact on someone in a very positive way, which in a way is kind of what the people that we've spoken with have said. But the other thing that I really, it means a lot to me, is whenever we have the celebrity guests on the show, and then afterwards, either immediately after the call, they talk about how much fun this was and how inviting and welcoming and all that kind of stuff. And if you ever need me again, you let me know, to the point where we get emails shortly after with them saying, hey, I also did this show, or in this show, and this show, if you want to have me on again. Or I send them the link to the episode, and they say afterwards, I just watched it. This looks great. Mark Wiener was one of the first ones to talk about how professional it looked. And we kept getting more and more comments. I will say, this person hasn't been on the show yet, but she's actually going to be on the next episode. But she was a professional editor. We haven't really had a whole lot of editors on our show, outside of Space Ghost.
Yeah.
But she, like I do with so many people, I send them a link to an episode. Here's an episode similar to the one that we're going to have you on, so you can get a feel for how we do the show. And I got to talk with her on the phone, and she said, I watched 5 minutes and knew I wanted to be part of this, which I thought was great. And she said, no, you don't understand. This was my job. I don't even have a resume online. I was just good at what I did, and other people would recommend me for other jobs. That's how I kept getting jobs. I've never had a resume my entire career. This was what I did. I've had a lot of people who would come up and say, hey, I did this really cool thing. Look at it. And I would watch it, and it was garbage, and I didn't have the heart to tell them. And not only that, but then I hear people say, hey, I'm starting a podcast. I'm like, podcast? What can you possibly do with a podcast? And then I saw your episode, and I said, oh no, you have a show. This is fantastic. This is professional looking. It's clean. She was somebody who took so much content from a show that nobody knew what to do with, and make it a clean, focused storytelling, A to B scenario. And she said, this was my job. You have a fantastic show. I want to be part of this. And to hear that consistently from people that we admired and why this thing started really warms my heart, which I could not do without every one of these people. So it's really a blessing to be a part of. But we've already talked so much. We've got more to talk about. We're going to try to wrap this up. But first, we got a commercial break. So we're going to come back with more Splat Attack. Stick around. Don't go away.
Oh no! I just realized that this is our 100th episode, and I have no awards to give out. Oh, what am I gonna do? Alan Goodman helped create the Kids' Choice Awards. Think, what would Goodman do? Ah, I got it! I'll be back. We all will be back. Don't go away. I hope I still have time.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of Splat Attack. If you are enjoying our episode, please hit the like button, subscribe, make sure to hit that notification bell. If you're listening on a podcast app, please leave us a review.
Seriously, reviews, likes, all that stuff, the algorithm loves that stuff, and it helps others find us. You all know what to do. Help us by helping others by clicking those buttons. This episode is very laid back and conversational, a bit lengthy, but if you are enjoying this type of format of us getting together and chatting about various things, you should check out our Patreon. Go to patreon.com/Splat Attack to get access to exclusive episodes every Friday, slime streams twice a month, a chance to vote on future episodes, and more. Join the Gackoids by going to patreon.com/Splat Attack. Do you like deals? We got some for you. Prices have been dropped on our bonfire page. Go to bonfire.com/store/Splatattack store with hyphens in between, where our prices have been slashed on all of our clothing. We have t-shirts, premium shirts, hoodies, sweatshirts, jackets with various colors and designs for all 90s Nick fans. Again, go to bonfire.com/store/Splatattack store with hyphens in between to get your Splat Attack shirt today. If you love 90s Nickelodeon, but you also loved Cartoon Network, then you need to check out the new podcast that Brett has started called Checkered Childhood. You can find it on Spotify and other podcast apps and listen to his audio-only deep dive into Cartoon Network. Join us next time, Slimesters, for another reunion that you've never seen. We will be celebrating the 35th anniversary of Wild and Crazy Kids with far more than just the hosts. You will find the Splat-tastic action here on Splat Attack. Ha! I did it! I've got some awards for everyone. I don't have Kids' Choice Awards, but I've got some great Stanley Cups. Because I'm Splat Stanley. Get it? Alrighty, take it away, Splat Crew.
Alright, welcome back, Slimesters. I know we've been talking a lot, but it's an anniversary episode. It's the 100th episode. We could be a little longer this time. But in honor of the 100th episode of this being kind of a Kids' Choice Awards homage, we've got some awards that we're going to give out. And by give out, I mean just say, hey, this person has this award. But Kiley knows this. Something that Megan and I had started a long time ago with one of our theater groups is we would have awards that we would give out every summer to everyone that was involved. It wasn't really a yay participation. It was more, this is what you contributed, and we just wanted to recognize that and let you know that we appreciated you. So that's very much what this is. So starting with, because we love our pets, they're important to us. So Phoebe.
Oh no. Oh no.
Phoebe.
Phoebe is always crashing and is quite the scene stealer every single time she shows up.
Yes.
So Phoebe, we're not giving awards. We are giving away Stanley Cups in honor of Splat Stanley.
Oh, thanks. I hate it. It's a freaking mug.
Oh no, not those kind of Stanley Cups. These are special Splat Stanley Cups. So it's not the Stanley Cup, it's the Stanley Cup. But Phoebe gets appropriately the Spotlight Award.
Aww.
Because she always steals it when she shows up.
I love when she chair surfs on the back.
That's my favorite.
That cat has good balance.
She's just like, I'm
Impressive.
lounging.
And Honey,
She's like, yes.
we have some honorary Stanley Cups. One of them was the always crying.
Oh, that's usually me.
Me too.
I'm just kidding. It's okay.
But more appropriately, and especially because this was Manny's suggestion, the always hungry Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
She is.
And also Nicow. We have to throw out Nicow.
Yeah.
Nicow had his own animated short for a while, but almost every time Nicow was featured on the show, Nicow would just lounge and was the most laid back, Even to the point where Brett would try to get Nikau to react, and Nikau would just look and go, "What?" and then would lay back down.
Open one eye.
Yeah. Well, remember on the Pets episode, he has his own voice.
Yeah, had his own voice.
Yeah.
So Nikau has the adorable sleeping pup Stanley Cup.
Did you give one for Olivia because she always is meowing at you in the episode?
The Olivia, I guess, could just be my right hand cat.
There
'Cause
was-
she's always on my right side.
there was that
Brett, when we started this together, what you all don't know is he and I really spitballed a lot of things back and forth to each other, but a lot of the groundwork that was put into the show was a lot of Brett's work, the look for it and the time that he was able to dedicate to put in, because I was working a full-time job. He had more time available because he was just doing freelance artwork at the time, and the show would not look as good and the lore put into it like it was had it not been for the amazing work that Brett put in when we first got started. So Brett gets the groundbreaker Stanley Cup.
Absolutely.
Cat.
Oh no.
Oh no.
That's the correct sentiment you should have before Alex gives you an award.
Well, he just laughed and then said my name.
Yeah.
So.
So I was going to give you the man spread Stanley Cup.
I think I missed something. Like, cat, is there something?
But no, that's not what I'm going to do.
My posture is still bad though.
I know what we're talking about in the next girls' room episode.
But honestly, like I said, there's so much of this show I could not do without the assistance of my crew. And Manny had said, and Kiley had said, I will also echo, I am not a writer, but Kat loves to write. And she is also fantastic with organizational skills. And she has she's pretty much our head writer. And a lot of times we would say, okay, can you just give us blueprints for this and then send it our way, and we'll see if we can come up with something, fix it up, spruce it up. So Kat gets the Space Quill Stanley Cup.
Ooh, I like that. Thank you.
Golden Space Quill. Jorde, I was going to give quite simply my guy.
My guy.
But honestly, I'm not going to do that. But so many of us have all referenced how the show would not look as good as it does had it not been for the hard work that you've put in. And in every sense, everyone's idea was very much the same. But ultimately, to go with the Nickelodeon twist, we are going to give you the Video Zone Stanley Cup.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Manny, I'm going to tell you what my first thought was.
Not best thought.
What's your third?
What's your third thought, Alex? And I want to say it because you loved this show. I do not mean this as an insult.
Ah, go ahead.
I was going to give you the Stimpy Stanley Cup.
Okay.
Because Stimpy was always so lovable, no matter what happened.
Aww.
And he was very much the heart of the show. And it's hard to watch Stimpy and just not love the guy. But honestly, everyone within the crew, people who have watched the show, have all said your spirit is so infectious and makes everyone feel so happy. And
The Glitter Award.
Morale Officer Award.
but also, you have interweaved so well with the crew and giving more ideas. And then anytime I would throw something at you, it's just, okay, and you would run right with it. So there is another character that also is very much like that. That's not Stimpy and is also not stupid. So you very much cheery all the time and is willing to do whatever. Melody. Plus, she loved Boney also. So you have the Melody Stanley Cup.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Lovely Kiley. With Kiley coming in, you hit the ground running as soon as you came in. And it was very much just, I want to be part of this, I want to make a good impression, and didn't shy away from anything with a group that was already established and pulling their weight, and I knew that's what you wanted to do as well. Plus, our first episode, like, since you became part of the crew, was our Guts episode. So, your Stanley Cup is Girls Got Guts. Stanley Cup. Heather. Usually, Kiley is the stage mom. Because within our theater family, she's been the high mom and all that, but you've very much become that with this group, in the sense that if anyone's got something going on, you are there, and you are, I want to help, I want to be part. I mean, she already so much of the group, but even you were just talking about Manny earlier, and how proud you were of him, which is great to see in a spouse. But if we were struggling with something, you were there with us. If someone else is struggling with something, you hiding money for Jorde.
Oh yeah, I did do that.
Because Jorde refused to take gas money when we were in LA.
You all paid flight tickets.
I was like, no. Look, not to mention today, you made us a full meal.
Yes.
And you gave us options in case people didn't want one thing or the other.
Yeah.
Like,
you're letting me crash here.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you receive, from Clarissa Explains It All, the Janet Darling Stanley Cup. So I still have 2 more awards to give out, but all of the original footage, the camera died on me, and then the Zoom call just never recorded, which again, we talked about a couple times already. But I did want to mention the other 2 Stanley Cups that we gave out. One was for Monica. And again, at the beginning, we talked about how Brett was very much laid the groundwork for us. But Monica, she had quite a few very great ideas. One of them being Nikau's own animated series, and some of the ideas which she mentioned previously. And she helped reel in a lot of Brett's ambition, because he had a lot of things he wanted to do. But it was just the 2 of us, and she was having to ground him in, but gave a lot of great ideas to implement within the show. So Monica gets the Innovative Supporter Stanley Cup. And the last one that I have, I'm sorry, no, I had 2 others. The other one is for my wife, Megan, who I almost gave the Teddy Ruxpin Award, which if you guys have seen the show long enough, you know how much she hates Teddy Ruxpin. But honestly, speaking as a husband, her support throughout the show has been incredibly invaluable, because I could not do the show without her support, because it takes a lot of time, both to record and to edit the meetings that we have. And on our 3rd episode, I had the entire episode edited, and I went to save it, and then it crashed and lost everything, and I had to start all over again. And Megan and I have been together so long that we're synonymous with each other. You can't have one without having the other in some form. And given that we're very much a couple that you cannot split apart, and the incredible support that I've had from her throughout this entire time, Megan receives the Topanga Award, or a Topanga Stanley Cup, I should say. And then, of course, you've got Sam, who during the Sam Reacts is constantly laughing and high energy, and is always doing his best to try to make people laugh. And usually it's when he's trying that it isn't funny, but when he's just being himself and reacting, he's genuinely funny. But the entire crew have all said, gosh, I wish I had his energy, even half of his energy. So Sam appropriately has most energy Stanley Cup. And also during the recording, Brett said that he had an award for me,
and it was very thoughtful, and I appreciated, which I'll comment more on later. But for now, he did re-record this and sent this my way to put in the episode. So here is what Brett has to say, not breast. That would be the Double A Cup Award. Brett, what do you got?
All right. Since you all are handing out awards like it's Halloween candy, Alex already mentioned some of the awards that I suggested to him that he hand out to everyone else. But as the original OG co-host with Alex, I'd like to give him a special Stanley Cup Award. This one is for essentially keeping things running and keeping things together and being like that anchor point that Splat Attack revolves around, because unfortunately, due to some personal circumstances, I had to step away after season 5, which is marked by the Welcome Freshman double episode review. It was not an easy decision, but I had to do it for the greater good. And I want to just honor Alex for, listening to my words when I left and really taking it to heart and just continuing to make Splat Attack great and continue to bring in like community and evolving the live streams and behind the scenes stuff on Patreon and continuing to get great guests and building those connections. So formally, I'd like to say for holding the show together despite all the challenges and ups and downs that we've endured through the history of Splat Attack. I'd like to present you with the Super Glue Dude Stanley Cup, because once everyone's stuck on you, there's no backing out. So enjoy that, Alex. Put it on your mantle and make sure you polish it once in a while because it is well deserved.
I'm only seeing 2 people here. Where'd everybody else go? I only see Manny and Jorde. Everybody else bailed on this 100th episode.
My guys.
Where's the guys?
So
Pat, Kiley, where'd you go? Heather.
Meg, Heather, Sam, everyone, they bailed. Brett, everyone bailed on us. No, that's not the truth. I mentioned at the very beginning of the episode that we had some technical difficulties because the Zoom call that we had Jorde and Brett and Monica on just didn't record any of the footage. and the memory card on our camera got completely full. We filmed the entire episode and then realized after, oh, darn it. But so I can tell you, we had a fantastic time, but we do have a bit more. But thankfully, the rest that we have was hearing from all of you guys. So without leading into Splat Stanley, because we want to jump straight into the episode is already going long. So, Kat, what's the segment that we're doing?
Shout Out Your Lungs Out is the segment that we're doing.
All right, you guys heard it. We are doing Shout Out Your Lungs Out. We put on all of our social medias what are some of your favorite moments, some things that you liked about Splat Attack, and we got quite a few responses. So I'm just going to read these and throw these out there because we have quite a few. So over on Facebook, first of all, we got a message, I should say a comment from Angelos. Hi, Angelos.
What's up, buddy?
He says, Splat Attack has become a staple in my weekly routine, and I always look forward to listening to new episodes. What I enjoy most about the show is the way it combines humor, nostalgia, and heart. The show has meant a lot to me, as it's helped me reconnect with my childhood and find a sense of community with other fans. Keep up the amazing work, and congratulations on 100 episodes. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Angelo.
Thank you, Angelos. You're such a great fan. Thank you so much. Every time we post something, you always comment on it. So
yes. Oh, it's we have some regulars, and I always look forward to hearing what they have to say.
Yes, definitely.
Also on Facebook, we heard from Tobias, who is more vocal over on Facebook than the rest of our socials. So Tobias says, wow, 100 episodes. I really like when you guys talk about my favorite shows like The Secret World of Alex Mack, 15, You Can't Do That on Television, Are You Afraid of the Dark, and others.
Also, those zany segments I find creative. I like when Brett returns with his immense insight. Thank you, Tobias.
Thank you, Tobias. Appreciate it.
I can say that, unfortunately, I don't have the footage here. I can say that Brett was very touched at your comment, and he really very much appreciated your comment about his insight. So he was very appreciative of that. Rich Berry.
Oh, Rich.
The CEO guy. Or no, Chief Slime Officer.
Chief Slime Officer, that's right. And I think he was one of the... What was that?
The CSO, Chief Slime Officer.
Yes. And I believe he was actually the first one to comment at all, which was really awesome. But Rich said, I enjoy hearing from the fans who have so much passion for the Nickelodeon brand. Thank you, Rich. I appreciate that.
Thank you, buddy.
We appreciate having you on too. Thank you, Rich.
Seriously, all the stories you had, fantastic, especially for a 90s Nickelodeon podcast like ours. Oh my God, we just ate it up. Seriously.
And we did get a few video submissions. We got a handful of them. So we're going to put our first one here now, which is all the way from across the pond. Welcome, Gerard.
This is Gerard from Nostalgia calling to say a massive congratulations to the whole team at Splat Attack on getting their 100th episode. Could not be more proud of you guys. You know, I first fell in love with Splat Attack a couple of years ago. I would be buffering the floors at work, sweeping, dusting, and I would just listen to hours and hours of Brett and Alex just talking about Doug and Rocco and Rugrats and all my favourites. And to see the channel grow from Alex and Brett to the amazing team that they have now, booking all these special guests, makes me so proud. The fact that I got to appear on Splat Attack was a massive honour for me. I made some amazing friends. The whole team at Splat Attack, Alex, Meg, Manny, Heather, all of you guys, genuinely some of the nicest guys you will ever get to talk to. I love you guys. I mean, my favourite series now on Splat Attack is The Girls' Room. I watch it as soon as it comes out. Those girls are amazing. Keep up the great work. 100 episodes. Guys, I cannot wait to see what you do with the next 100 episodes. 2025 is your year. Splat Attack is the best Nickelodeon and retro podcast YouTube channel out there. That's just a fact. So proud. 100 episodes. 2025, you guys are gonna rock. Keep up the great work, guys. Love you. Nostalgia.
Thank you, Gerard.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you for shouting out the girls' room too, man. You're an honorary girls' room member, dude. You guys are the best.
And we did get a few comments over on YouTube. So we have YouTube usernames here. This one is from Lady EE83, who says, congratulations on 100 episodes. I love that you all have dedicated your time to this channel. I loved all the game show episodes because those were my fave as a kid. I also loved the episode when you had the promo guy on, which incidentally was Rich Berry.
Rich.
Because to me, the promos, the bumpers, the kid commercials all together are what made Nickelodeon special. The way the channel was styled was so cool. So hearing from the people that had a hand in the aesthetic of Nickelodeon is cool. Keep up the good work. I could not agree more.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's 100% the truth. I mean, Nickelodeon is almost known exclusively for the way it looks. The orange, the slime, you know, the music, the jingles, everything in between is really what built out the culture. So,
and I'm sure you love this too, Jorde, like the graphics with the promos, that little
it's
name
a huge
thing that
inspiration. Yeah,
Yeah.
into the work that we do here at Splat Attack, we draw directly from Rich's work. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
From one of our favorites, Toilet Clogger 1945.
Hey.
Oh, Toilet Clogger.
TC.
Yes.
Toilet Clogger has to say, the fountain of youth is in happiness, and the best form of happiness is nostalgia. So lucky to have grown up in the 90s. You guys know this by now, but the channel, the content, and yourselves is much, all in caps, appreciated. You're all a special group of people, and I get excited every time I see a new upload. Congratulations on the 100th episode. Sky's the limit with this channel. You should all be very proud of yourselves with what you've created and with what you all bring to us fans and 90s kids. Love you all. A phrase I never thought I would say. Love you, Toilet Clogger.
Oh, we love you so much, buddy.
Thank you.
Another, again, here we go with just, I don't want to say weird names, but YouTube names. Greg DH4VY says, "Hey," with a little wavy hand. "Congratulations on the 100th episode. I appreciate them so much. I love that we get to share the things we love on here from our time. Y'all have also introduced me to some shows/movies that I had completely forgotten about or didn't know about, and to get to watch them now. Thank you all. You're great and do a wonderful job. Much love." Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Appreciate it.
much.
Everything's appreciated. Thank you so much.
Love all these comments. This is great. CM Strike, who has been on a few of our lives, says, "I really enjoy the topics you cover, but the personalities and the chemistry between the group keeps me coming back. Not to mention the awesome visuals. Congrats on 100.
Absolutely.
Thank you so
Jorde.
much. We appreciate it. It takes all of us. It takes a group over here to make the visuals. So it's not just me. It takes everybody. But thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh, well, it might take all of us, but it's 98% Jorde,
Absolutely.
2% us.
You make those awesome graphics and just setups. It's just every season is just unbelievable. Like
Oh,
no matter
thank
what
you.
you do, it's great.
Appreciate it. I appreciate it, Manny. I appreciate it, everybody else.
We have one from Jera Wallstar 3487 says, "I enjoyed it when you guys talk about 90s Nicktoons nostalgia. I enjoyed the Craig Bartlett and Jim Jenkins collaboration. The way you guys talk about the retro 90s nostalgia means a lot to me because I grew up watching 90s Nicktoons and got the DVD copies of shows such as Hey Arnold, Angry Beavers, and etc." Yes, so did we. We got those too. We got everything.
Quite a few, actually.
I mean, they even sent each other animation cells through Instagram.
That's right.
So that was
that was an
really-
awesome. That was so cool.
That felt so amazing doing that.
Our next video submission from a fan comes from Nick Borey, all the way from the Hidden Temple. So here's what Nick has to say.
Splat Attack podcast, congratulations, 100 episodes. That's amazing. I mean, with that many episodes, how do you even pick one of your favorites? I mean, I couldn't pick one. I mean, I could definitely pick two. My two favorite episodes are by far, well, it's kind of like a two-parter. And then there's a third episode that's also almost equally as good. It's, they're so good. But they're all good, but those three especially are very good. And I just want to say, on a serious note, you guys are amazing. The passion, the talent, the production value of what you guys do is amazing. You know, Alex, Manny, Brett, the entire team. I am 100% a fan of the show first and a guest of the show second. And I can't wait to see your next 100 episodes. I hope you're still doing the show in 30 years when they dust off another reboot of Legends and Josh and I get to get our walkers and wheelchairs out there and stumble through the temple and lose one more time. That would be amazing. So don't make fun of me for this one, but aren't you glad you've got your Splat Attack podcast? Aren't you glad? All right. Congratulations, guys. 100 episodes. Unbelievable. So great.
And you got a great singing voice. I love that tune.
I absolutely adore that. And I agree. Those episodes are among my favorites too. I appreciate that. We have two a bit lengthier, but these are from email. And I really adore what they have to say. So this first email we got comes from series regular John, who says, "You asked me to share my thoughts on your podcast, so I thought I would. I thought I'd send your email rather than blow up the comment section on Facebook. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Very thoughtful. 1, I love how your podcast covers the whole scope of 90s Nickelodeon, not just one show. And I love how it is not just the popular shows, Rugrats and Are You Afraid of the Dark, but also the relatively obscure shows, such as the Tomorrow People miniseries. 2, I like the variety of the format. One episode is an interview, one episode is an episode or a series review, and another could be an episode battle. The episode battles are my favorite, by the way. 3, I like how despite your growth, you don't chase views by focusing entirely on one format or one show that you know is going to be popular. This is related to my first point. 4, I love how you guys treat every interviewee the same, no matter who it is, whether it is a celebrity or just a regular Joe with a collection. You never get the feeling that any guest has preferential treatment. I love how you guys never take yourselves too seriously. You guys are so genuine. Nobody on your show, or your Zoom meetings for that matter, ever has to feel like they're going to come on and be embarrassed or ridiculed. That in particular means a lot to me. So thank you for that, John.
Thank
It does. That's a deep, deep thought too. So
5. He continues. He has 2 more. 5. I love how Brett, Alex, and others would try to find the pathos, and you realize how certain episodes are actually a lot deeper than you would think. For example, Space Cases, The Impossible Dram, which deals with the surprising adult topic of taking care of an elderly loved one who may be losing their mind. As an adult, that hits way harder than it would be as a kid watching it. John, I can also say that when I read that, Kat was,
Yeah.
she made an audible oomph whenever we were talking about that part. And his last point, which incidentally says 6, last point, I promise. I just love the positive and good vibes. I like how you don't devote an entire episode or TV show or movie you don't like and then mock it. That is not to say you don't love everything. No, I don't expect that. I appreciate valid, emphasis on the word valid, criticisms of certain shows, and frankly, not everything holds up. It is not like you guys are going to do a whole episode on why Cat Dog is the stupidest cartoon ever.
I mean, I may write that, but I don't. I kid. I love Cat Dog.
I am gonna admit we have considered that. We have thought about doing a worst of series and then just dog the episodes, but we haven't done that yet. We may one day, maybe when we're all old, super old and wrinkly and white hair and falling out and decrepit and angry. But
I'll
for
be a
now,
corpse, so I'll be reviewing that.
we also have another video submission, and this one comes from Andy from Notable Nostalgia.
Ooh, Andy!
Hey.
Woo! Splat Attack 100 episodes. Wow! Seems like just last episode it was 99. Incredible. I am super happy for everybody and everybody involved in Splat Attack. Keep it going. If I had to choose my favorite episode, it's the one that I was on because I'm super vain. Woo! Love the podcast. Keep it going. Love you guys. Peace.
Thank you, Andy.
Thank
I
you.
love that. You know, you did the Conan joke, the Clutch Cargo bit. Oh my god, dude. Absolutely love it.
We have one more email from a fan who also was one of our regulars, Travis. Travis says, congratulations on 100 episodes. One of my favorite things about the Splat Attack podcast is that you have on somebody who is involved with a particular Nickelodeon show in one way or another, along with another guest who's a big fan of that show. I really like that concept. It's a very unique way to bring fans and creators together. I continue to be amazed at how you're able to book certain guests. It's nothing short of impressive. Some of my favorite moments include your interview with former Nickelodeon president Geraldine Laybourne, as well as your interview with Mark Summers and Robin Russo, and the top 5 syndicated Nickelodeon shows episode. That was a lot of fun. Being a member of the Splat Attack community has been a lot of fun. It's been great getting to know Brett, Alex, Manny, Cat, Jorde, and the rest of the gang. I'm really proud to call all of you my friends. You've also been really helpful in giving me tips for my own podcast. I'm very appreciative of that. Some of my favorite episodes, including being a guest on the Favorite Doug episode, along with Doug creator Jim Jenkins, the Favorite Critic episodes, Practice episode, being a contestant on the Go Figure game show, and all the fun times that we have during the various Slime streams. Thank you so much for all that you do for the 90s Nickelodeon community. Let's take the gag back.
Hey, thank you, Travis. Much
Thank you,
appreciated.
Travis.
And
Really,
if,
thank you.
And if you all couldn't tell, it's Travis's very, very diehard dedication to the show and his popular catchphrase, "Let's take the gag back."
Yep.
is permanently etched in Splat Attack history because you can see it on our office wall as we speak.
Yes.
And I believe we have one more video submission. Oh no, we actually have two more, but I'll get this one first. This one is from Jeff and Gus Gus
Ooh,
from Notable Nostalgia.
Jeff and Gus Gus.
Hey.
Hey, Manny, Heather, and Splat Attack crew. It's Jeff from Notable Nostalgia. Bling! I want to wish you a happy 100th episode with Gus Gus. Gus Gus. Happy 100th episode! Earth, Earth, Earth! I'm Gus Gus, the dog! We love you. You guys are amazing, funny, nostalgic, epic, iconic, chocolate, everything in between. We hope you guys have another 100 years or episode. 100 years. No, we'll go with that. 100 years of fabulousness and splat. Every time I listen to your guys' podcast, I get splat on so nicely. So cheers. We love you, and we will see you soon. Bye. Bye. I'm Gus Gus.
Thank you, Jeff.
I love the chocolate phrase. That's great.
Thank you so much.
I love you, Jeff. Great. We need to have you on the show. We need to have him on the show.
Yes, absolutely. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and play our last video submission that we got from a fan, and this is from Zach Fieldson.
Oh.
Hey, Splat Attack. Congrats on your 100th episode. Zach Fieldson here. Just want to say thanks for having me on the show. You guys are doing great things. It's a great show. Congrats on all the success, and hope for another 100 episodes. I'm out here in my garage right now working on this guy. Who is the real Flesh? All right, take care, guys.
Thank you so much, Zach. I love your
Thank
latest
you.
project. That looks great.
Yes. Robo Flash.
I was about to try to do a Flesh impersonation, but it was just going to come out. "Meh, meh." No, that's not even close. Jeez. Next, we transition away from fans, mostly because that's just about all the ones that we got previously, and now we go to some celebrities. We got some celebrity
we do
shout outs. We do. Starting with Irene Ung.
Oh, you don't say.
Had to have Shelby Woo in there.
Oh man.
Yes.
And Irene says, participating in your podcast was such a fun experience, and it was clear that you were extremely knowledgeable about our show too. I would gladly do it again without hesitation, which we probably will because we still have a 30th anniversary coming up.
We do.
Yes, we do.
Next season, I believe. So
I think so. Yes, this is exciting. This is gonna be very fun.
Keep an eye out for that.
Thank you, Irene. By the way,
Yes.
thank you very much. It was great to talk to you and the rest of the crew and hear your stories, hear everything you had to say. It was so cool. It was like a family reunion that we got to be a part of. So thank you very much, Irene.
We also heard from DJ Mikhail.
Hey.
All right.
Creator of Are You Afraid of the Dark? He has to say, happy 100 to the slimiest podcast on the internet. I mean that in the best possible way. It's always a blast spending time with genuine fans of OG Nickelodeon who appreciate just how special the Orange Years were and share that love with their listeners in such a fun way. Well done. I declare this meeting of Splat Attack open for another 100 episodes or more.
Oh man, thank you so much, DJ.
Thank you, DJ.
Truly appreciate it. Thank you so much.
And next we have Paul Christie, voice of Stick Stickly. Paul has to say, Nick was such a huge part of America's culture for many years, and we may never see such a phenomenon again. The Splatniks have done a remarkable service to us all in keeping that history alive for future generations and for all of us who are a part of that wonderful piece of time. Truly an honor to be included and play a small part. Splat forever, all in caps. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you so much,
Splatniks.
Paul.
I love it.
We do have a video submission from another Nickelodeon celebrity who you may have seen a time or two on the podcast. We have Mark and Max Wiener.
Hey,
So let's see
the
what they have to say.
Wieners.
What a beautiful day. Just drinking a smoothie outside.
With my son.
And with my dad. And we just were thinking, the only thing that would make this better is if we could talk about how much we love Splat Attack.
Oh, I love Splat Attack.
Yeah, from their funny hosts and all the guests and random people who might show up.
Yeah.
It's just a great time, and we really appreciate you guys including us
Thank
in
you
your
so much.
journey. And
Thank you.
congratulations on a great show.
And congratulations on that what do they call it? It's
the anniversary?
Is it their anniversary? No,
No.
it's not their anniversary.
Is it their birthday?
No.
Is it their wedding?
No.
All right.
No, it's like
Well-
their 100th episode or something, or 200th. In the email, it said on our hunt episode. Well, what is a hunt episode?
Anyway, we're going to think about what that meant, but thank you guys, and happy summer, and
Great-
keep up the great work.
Great job all the time. So thank you for having us. Thank you for keeping the 90s alive.
Yeah, they're definitely doing that.
All right, thanks,
And
guys.
as Boney always says,
Now get out of here.
Yeah, a reference to that is my text to speak is very stupid. So obviously it didn't understand why I said 100th episode and it came out as hunt episode. So that's what that reference is. But hey, they made a bit out about it because and they're both very talented and
Of course they would. I mean, that's what I would have done. Take a little mistake and turn it into a comedy bit. That's
Yep.
right up their alley. So thank you again. I appreciate that.
Thank
Love you
you
guys.
to both of you. Thank you.
It's always an honor talking to both of you guys. You guys are the best.
Next, we have Anique Matern from Space Cases, who is Thelma, which she says, "This is just a little message from Thelma to say how much I enjoyed being on Splat, with a splat symbol, Attack. The interviewers, Alex Nance and Catherine Jersey, were kind, well-informed, and so much fun to share stories with. Their questions were pertinent, sometimes funny, and always thoughtful. We had almost the full cast on, and it felt like a great big family reunion. Wishing you guys tons of continued success with the next 100. Thank you, Anique.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
I know Kat was like, yes. Thank you very much,
Yes,
Anique, for saying
Kat
that.
especially.
Yes.
And we have two more little shout outs that we're going to give, or I should say that we're going to read that we received. That's more appropriate. This one was from Craig Bartlett.
Oh, hey, Craig.
Yes, hi, Craig.
Craig says, I've been on Splat Attack and it's always fun, but this last one was amazing. I've known Jim Jenkins of Doug fame for 30 plus years, but we've never met, ever, as ridiculous as that sounds. The Splat Attack team invited us both on together to talk about best friends Gerald and Skeeter. We had a blast. Then I sent Jim an Arnold cell, and he just sent me a Doug. Thanks, Splat Attack, for putting two grizzled Nicktoon vets together for the first time. Well, that's what we're here for. Make dreams happen.
The match made in heaven.
And yes, I can't believe that no one has ever thought about putting these two together ever.
I can't believe they never had seen each other just in crossing, working.
I
all
know,
these
it's
years.
amazing.
In the
But
same
it's a
place.
good thing they finally did get to meet because it's awesome. I'm so glad they got to share some cells with each other too.
I like to think of both of their shows as being very relatable too. Like they're both can exist in the same
They're like
place.
slices of the same pie in the same way. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
So there's going to be a major shift right after this because the last part of this episode we filmed while we were still in Pennsylvania with Manny. So this is going to be our last. Again, I said at the very beginning of the episode, if it seems like there's major shifts in cuts and flow of conversation, it's because there is. So we cut straight from this into the end of the episode. So our last shout out that we got was from Natalie Nucci from Roundhouse. And she says, Being a guest on Splat Attack was like connecting my past to the present. Not only were Alex's questions thought-provoking, but it was fun to realize that the once fans are now full-fledged adults and that the inspiration continues and it becomes an even exchange. Thank you, Splat Attack. Thank you. Thank you, Natalie.
Much appreciate it. Thank you.
I lied. I have one more that I just remembered while I was
one up
reading
my
that.
sleeve.
Don't get my sleeve. Presto. Joke's not over yet. One more. Gotta have the button on there. So this is our last one, I promise. And then we'll go to our closing question while still over at Manny's house. But this last one is from Brock Bradley from Welcome Freshman.
Nice.
Brock says, participating in Splat Attack podcast was a rewarding and memorable process. Alex is a consummate showman, expertly moderating a natural, authentic conversation with a cast of Nickelodeon's Welcome Freshmen. My door is and always will be open to Alex and the important work that he's doing to carry on the legacy of the next generation. Thanks, Alex.
So awesome.
Wow, that's great.
That was very personal, but I'm very appreciative. Thank you, Brock. Thank you to everyone who sent in notes, comments, emails, videos. All of it is very appreciated.
Yes, all of the support. We very much appreciate.
Means a lot to all of us, so thank you.
All right, well, that is going to be it for our 100th episode. Despite all the technical difficulties we had, we still made it work. And we are out back for a very special thing, but before we have that, we have a closing question for all of you. Closing question is, what would you like to see us cover in the next 100 episodes? You guys know the drill. Send us your replies via email, splatattack2021@gmail.com. DM us on all of our socials. Just look for Splat Attack Podcast. Interact with us wherever you can. We're always glad to hear from you. And it wouldn't be a Splat Attack 100th episode Splataganza without some... What are we going to do?
Slime!
Slime. So stick around during the end credits while we get a few people slimed. We'll splat you later.
It's cold, I know. It's very cold. It's like, it's so cold.
Watch out, Sam.
This episode was
recorded at
Splat Attack Studios
in virtual home studios,
though none in Florida.